The Stranded J Podcast.
Alrighty, and here we are, reacting to episode 7 of Daredevil Born Again. What?
I'm just excited.
Oh, the episode is called Art for Art's Sake. Just a quick recap on what happened basically from last week. Matt Murdock becomes Daredevil again and chases down Muse, and Muse gets away by the end of it. So this kind of concludes the rest of that episode, basically where it's Matt and Fisk kind of on a hunt together to both kind of track down Muse, Matt as Daredevil and Fisk as the mayor, and using their own resources that they have at their disposal. It basically leads to a conclusion for this part of the arc. So you have a wonderful fight scene with Daredevil again, a little bit more Daredevil, and we can jump right into the spoilers as well. So Tricia, what did you think of this episode?
I thought that it was the best episode that we've seen. I really loved it. Muse, when you got to see him without the mask on, I thought he was just as creepy with the mask on.
He's a great actor.
Great actor.
They picked a good actor for that part.
I'm actually really sad that he is gone now.
Yeah.
Spoiler number 1.
He really only got like one episode to kind of show off his stuff.
Yeah, and he had, of course, in the older episodes, like the creepy, like neck movements and stuff like that,
Right.
but he wasn't speaking. And I imagine that was an artistic choice because he is an artist after all. And you have to to pat yourself on the back a little bit because you called that who Muse was.
I did call that. I just knew that guy showing up was not a coincidence, and I think it was just more remembering that he showed up. But
I didn't remember.
Yeah, because he was quite a few episodes ago. But yeah, I'll pat myself on the back for that. I do have to take a few nerd points away for myself, though. After watching this season so far, a lot of the inspiration they took for this season came from Charles Soule's run on Daredevil, which I never read. And I've read a lot of arcs of Daredevil. I've read almost all of them, and that was one that I didn't. That was actually a moment in his in the Daredevil series that I kind of took a break from Daredevil. It was right. I think you had Bendis's run, which led into Brubaker's run, and they kind of were like the same, like they tied into each other. And then there was a third arc that was going to lead from Brubaker's run, and that turned into Charles Soule's run. And Charles Soule's run, I think that's the order it's in. I don't remember where Mark Waid's run is. I don't know if it's Waid then Soule, but regardless, the stuff that is going on with like the Mayor Fisk and with the creation of Muse and Matt, I've never read. So that's why I didn't really know much about Muse, and I didn't know much about what was going to happen. That is being corrected as we speak. I'm in the process of reading Charles Soule's run. So it won't happen again.
I can't wait to hear the cliff notes on that one.
Yeah.
Unless it's a really good run and then you come to me and you're like, Tricia, you have to read this, because that's happened.
Yeah, I know that it's not the most well-reviewed Daredevil series, but also I'm liking it so far. And a lot of the stuff that's in Charles Soule's run is also already being hinted at for season 2.
Oh, so someone on the writing team is a fan of that story.
Yeah, and I'm liking it so far. It's just a little different. It's a little kind of a different feel to it, which is the point of Daredevil. Each arc should feel like a different writer is writing him a little bit, so I'm okay with it. But yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Something else that you called, but it technically didn't happen, was you said that Muse would kill Heather.
Yes.
And I thought, I thought she was probably done for, especially at the end when she was not conscious.
Yeah, I thought maybe, well, at first I was like, oh, I guess this ain't going to happen. And then I was like, oh, maybe it will happen. And then when I saw Matt come through, I was like, oh, it won't happen. And then she passes out, and then I'm like, oh, maybe it will happen. And then they say, oh, it looks like someone stabilized her. And I was like, oh, I guess it's not happening. So.
Yeah, it's a lot of back and forth for sure. One thing I expected at the end of the episode, because it is just so Fisk, is when he starts touting around town that anti-vigilante task force is the one that saved her. and they refused to give Daredevil credit, I was thinking, the only person that could say that that's not true is Heather.
Yes.
And so when they had that conversation in the hospital, when he said, they said that you're free to go tomorrow, I was like, oh, this could be one of those moments that Matt leaves and Fisk sends someone in to clean up. But yeah, that one had me guessing a lot.
Is that going to be your, like, kind of what I did? Is that your theory that in the future?
That she's going to die?
That she is going to die specifically because Fisk is going to kill her? Are you going to make that claim? Because I think it's good. I mean,
yes, I do think Fisk will kill her. Actually, I think Fisk is going to kill Vanessa. That's another...
See, and that's back and forth with me too, because at the end there, in that last scene, it kind of got you on your toes wondering, did she legitimately try to get him to kill Fisk, or did he reel that guy in so he could see that Vanessa was trying to kill him, or is it they had it planned? And it turns out they had it planned from what it looked like, which actually I think is the best written way to do it, because Vanessa would know that guy could not kill Fisk.
Right. Even
if he tried to sneak up on him, there's just no way. But I also have to say, I think that last scene is, I could be wrong, I think it's a bit of a nod to The Godfather, because that restaurant, it looks exactly like the restaurant in The Godfather where Michael has to do his first hit. You haven't seen the movie, but I think it looked just like that. Like they shot it very similar. So I could be wrong.
Okay. I was like, I mean, obviously I can't speak to that because I've never seen The Godfather, but I'm like, it's an Italian restaurant in New York. Of course it looks like it.
It was a super similar vibe because it was like it was closed and like no one else was in there. And it was like a very specific group of people. It just looked like, I think that was a small nod, but that might've just been me. Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to comment on before I forgot about it too, with the fight between Daredevil and Muse Part 2, it was very weird, but worked in a weird way for me to see such a screwed up situation, and probably one of the darkest things we've seen in Daredevil, all in broad daylight.
That was neat.
Like that, at first I was like, oh, you know what? Like this would have been so much better if it was like dark, but then they had to write it in because he was coming in for his therapy. But
it easily could have been turned into that, where it was like, maybe she's one of those therapists that like to have the lights dimmed and a like salt rock lamp on in the corner. Like it could have been dimmed.
At first I didn't like it, and I was like, this is really weird. It feels very like, why would you do this in broad daylight? But I kind of liked the change in pay, like the risk they took with that. I thought it was kind of fun just to be like, it's such a stark contrast to have such a, like I said, it's one of the more screwed up moments in Daredevil that we've seen. You
want to talk about a stark contrast. 6 episodes ago, I was ready to give up on this series. I'm like, yeah. I don't even know if it's worth watching episode 2. I am so glad that I didn't, because 7, I would say, is on par with the Netflix show. To me.
I think 6 was close, if not there.
That's true.
I think 6 and 7 have been really strong. I think 1 through 5 have had various moments that live up to the show, but not the entire episode. And you can just tell that I should know them, but whoever the creative team is, they brought in secondhand, who they basically said, take this stuff and make it better, and then you can add whatever you need here and there to kind of fix it for your own story. You can tell they found their footing halfway through, where they're like, this is really hard to manipulate into the direction we want it to go with the stuff that they did, but let's just kind of force it through, and then eventually it'll get easier. And you can see it. Like you can see that, episodes 1, 2, and 3 were a struggle for them. And then you can tell as it's starting to build more and more, maybe episode 5, the bank robbery one, that one may have been one that they were like, man, what are we going to do with this? And they, that was probably the last, but you can just tell as we're getting further down the series, they are able to make this better. And the cinematography is better. I mentioned that when we were watching it, the scene where Vanessa's meeting up with that guy that dies at the end, the other guy, gang member that she meets with, the cinematography is really, really good. And I think it was I think everything with Vanessa was a reshoot, because I think I mentioned it, that she originally wasn't going to be back. They were going to recast her because she couldn't, because of the scheduling conflict. And then because of the shutting down and redoing it with a new creative team, they were able to bring her back in later on. So,
Ooh, okay. Then that also makes me think she's going to die, because if they were going to recast her, that's the easiest person to kill when you recast someone, where they're like, it's fine. She'll die at the end of season 1 anyways. So I stand by that.
I do think she has a good chance to die for sure.
Yeah. I think it's going to be like right when they're about to rekindle, where it's like, we're going to work this out. We're going to be okay.
They're becoming a power couple again.
Yeah.
From the end of that. And I think because they're doing this mirror thing between Matt and Fisk, I think that Matt has had so much taken from him and Fisk hasn't, that I think they're going to use that as kind of Fisk's Foggy.
Sure.
In a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And make him even more further into the Kingpin again. But that's just another theory.
So the only thing in that episode that I thought stood out as really weird was the shower scene. It just like was really odd to me. And it was like right at the beginning. And
what about it?
Well, so like he's showering and it is clearly recent because he was there and he was cleaning like the matted blood off of him.
Right.
And then all of a sudden she just like walks in and she's in her cute little robe and she steps in and he has a bruise the size of like a small dog on his back. And she goes, Matt. And he just starts kissing her and she's like, okay.
That's how suave he is. He just gets her to forget.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Would you forget?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
I knew you were going to pull that, but that's not fair. It's Charlie Cox. But no, I thought that was interesting, where it was just like, and now shower scene, shower sex, and then we're going to have this hard conversation. Like, I'm sorry. No, you're not going to kiss your way out of this one. You're clearly, that's not, I bumped into something.
Yeah, that's true. And then, well, they kind of acknowledge it afterwards because
I know, but it didn't have to. I'm just saying that, like, that scene didn't have to be in there. Granted, did I like seeing Charlie Cox's back? Yes, I did. He looked great. But it stood out to me. It was just like bizarre. I don't know.
I think the only criticism I had of this episode, which isn't even really a criticism, is I think that, like you were kind of saying, I kind of am sad that Muse is dead, because I thought he was really strong and really menacing. And it was like, it became a real like crime thriller, serial killer. Like it was a great fit for the show. But I also kind of understand why they did it. It was a little fast, I think, but like, I also understand because like it's a catalyst for whatever the major story is they're getting into. And he was just kind of the part in between that led them to take that next step into the next part. But
I do like the R-rated Disney, but it is throwing me off when I keep seeing blood splatters, because I keep thinking that Matt killed someone.
Well, and that's the thing. It's kind of like in Batman v Superman, when they did the extended cut or whatever, the Ultimate Edition, and they made it R-rated. Really, the only thing they did was they added like an F-bomb here and there, and then they added blood in all the fight scenes. And it completely, like, you can just tell they're overcompensating to be like, look how violent we are. We're just like the Netflix show. But the Netflix violence was warranted due to the story. And in this one, you can tell they want it to be violent. Sometimes it works really well. Like whenever Matt breaks bones, I like to see that. I like to see him snap a dude's leg, snap a dude's arm. Like that's very like Daredevil and Batman in the same way. But like when you see the blood splatter, it's like they're overcompensating for like, this is a violent moment. And it's not really needed, because then it just makes you confused if someone died or not. And I thought he killed Muse at the same time.
When he shot that, what was it, his grappling hook, like through him to pull him back. It was a really cool shot, but I was like, oh, there it is. There's the line. He just crossed the line.
Yeah. And like, I think it was something they added after, to be honest. It looks like the way it's like portrayed, it looks like they added a CG blood splatter after to compensate. And that is a criticism I'll give too, because I think, and that's happened throughout the whole series where they're like, we want to make it up the violence to show. They kind of misunderstood the violence of the Netflix Daredevil. And I don't know if that is something that is like a producer thing and it'll get better next season with the new writers, or if it's something that they're going to continue to do. Like I said, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't for me. And I wonder if the same guy who shot White Tiger was the assistant guy who shot that cop.
Oh,
Buck. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure.
I'm trying to think of why Fisk would want him dead, other than the fact that he's a vigilante. But if like that was
the case, maybe. But I don't know. Or like they won the case, which made Fisk lose. So I don't know. I think that's something that's going to be revealed later, and I do think that Punisher's coming back. So I think when
that was a question from last week that someone had posted. They said, do you think Punisher is coming back in this first season?
Yes, and I still think so.
When?
I don't think he'll be back until the next episode or episode 9. He may be in both, but there's only 2 episodes left.
I was going to say, you can't say, I think he'll be back in either.
I think, yes, he'll be back this season. And I think it'll be... He won't be safe for season 2. I think he'll be showing back up. I've heard that episode 9 is just like episode 1 in the sense that it's like a full-on redone or like a shot episode with the new creators. Now, if it's rushed like the first, I don't know. But I think he's going to appear in that, because that's another one that John Bernthal, we've heard, he wasn't going to come back for the original shooting of this show because he didn't like the direction they were taking Frank, and he literally said no to them. And then when they decided they're going to do a whole new creative overhaul, they reached back out to him and they had a better grasp on it, that he was okay with it. So I think anything you see John Bernthal's Punisher in is a new thing they've added, and that's why that also feels choppy. Like that scene, like that's like the best scene in that episode 4. But it's because like they just kind of shoehorned it in because they wanted to bring in this foreshadowing that Frank's back in the universe, and they're gonna bring him back later too. Yeah,
I agree with that, and I feel like there's still some wrapping up to do with the anti-vigilante task force, or all of those people that had Punisher logos. In fact, I'm going to say for sure Buck is not the one that shot White Tiger, because when he walked away, the shooter had a Punisher logo on his chest, and Buck never would have worn them.
I think this anti-vigilante task force is going to carry over into the next season, and I think what they do to overhaul the city or whatever they're doing to like outlaw vigilantes is going to be the major rest of the plot of season 2, because you also have to remember season 2 is technically supposed to be season 1 because it was going to be 18 episodes. So I think that it's going to be a continuation of that, where I think we're going to see, I think that's where they're going to start jumping in more heroes. I think you're going to see more vigilantes. So you're probably going to see Punisher. You're going to see Daredevil. They may bring back somebody from like the Defenders. You could have like Iron Fist. You could have Luke Cage or somebody, because they're going to be hunting these guys down, and they're pretty much doing Devil's Reign.
Well, yeah, but Elektra.
Well,
speaking of dead people, like Elektra, I miss Wesley.
Yeah.
And I miss Elektra. I don't know how they can add her back, but I obviously there are ways, but I miss seeing her in the show. I miss seeing Claire in the show.
I miss Claire. I miss Foggy.
Yeah.
I think Foggy was a great he was like the one that you could go back to when you needed some downtime to kind of lighten up the story.
You know who I don't miss?
I know. We know. We all know nowadays. I'm pretty sure Deborah Ann Wool knows you don't like her at this point with how loud you are about it.
No, she doesn't know I exist, which is probably for the best.
But I do think that they're going to introduce some of these heroes back in season 2 to kind of like have it be a pushback. And I do, like I said, the guy that I know that has seen the whole first season, who said that, you know, it kind of leaves you at the end of this season where you wanted it to be at the beginning, and you kind of are back to the status quo you wanted the whole season. I think that's all making sense now, where I think once you get Matt back in the suit now. You have Kingpin kind of back as Kingpin. I think we're going to get some of these characters back that we've missed, and I think he's going to return to Hell's Kitchen. I think there's going to be something that just makes him leave. I mean, there's already some like tension now at this law firm with his partners because he's back as Daredevil, and you got that one guy hiding his identity, and then you have his other lawyer lady who I don't know her name because she keeps disappearing.
Kirsten.
She keeps disappearing from the show, but when she does appear, she's pissed off because she's like out of the loop. And I think that's going to cause, just like Nelson and Murdoch, it's going to cause this collapse because every time Matt becomes Daredevil, the law firm stuff goes away. And so I think that's going to lead him back to like kind of going back to his roots a little bit.
Mm-hmm. When do you think Bullseye will come back?
That I don't know. At first I thought he'd come back at the end of this season, but there's only 2 episodes left, and I think that there's
so much to wrap up.
I think this is going to end a little disappointing for a lot of people because it's going to be just a
big cliffhanger
for season 2. So I think a lot of stuff is going to go unanswered. I think there'll be big reveals, and I think there'll be big things that happen to progress into season 2, but I don't think we're going to see any conclusions to anything. So I think Bullseye is going to be the last part of this. Mm-hmm. I mean, Fisk, technically you're looking for Matt and Fisk to fight again, and I think that will happen, but I think it's going to be similar to season 3 where it's like more, Fisk, we know Fisk it's not going to end with Fisk, like he may go back to prison or something, but it's not going to be this big, like he dies or something. I think it's going to be kind of like Matt, Bullseye, Fisk again by the end. Those are the final situation.
Sure.
Because that's going to be Matt confronting Full Circle.
Muse was just the mid-season.
He was just a fun, interesting villain that had a lot of aesthetic that they could use to help progress the characters back to the places that they need to be for the rest of the story to make sense in my eyes.
I do wonder, because I know that you said that you had someone that you follow on Twitter that is who's already seen all of these episodes.
Yeah.
Was it a screening?
Yeah, it was a review copy, essentially a review copy. So it was a screener.
So he probably binged it.
Yes.
So it does make me wonder, being able to kind of ingest these and chew on them throughout the week and then come with fresh eyes the next week. I wonder how that's different than if you were to sit and binge the series. Like, I wonder if, because this series is getting pretty good reviews. I mean, like, they're mainly positive online, and rightfully so. I think that for what it's worth, that, and for what the new writers had to deal with, I think it's fantastic that it's even like 85% of the way there.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if I sat down and watched these back to back to back, kind of like sitcoms, when you rewatch old sitcoms and you're like, man, this person is with a new woman like every 2 episodes. But when you're watching them weekly, it takes a little time. It's like, oh yeah, that was a month-long relationship, or, we have those sometimes where it's like, it just didn't work out. So I wonder with this one too, if you sat and binged it, if you would be like, I don't like it as much.
That's a good point, because, I'm trying to compare it to like the other seasons in Netflix, and like I can binge season 1 beginning to end and love every second of it. I think we haven't rewatched season 3 yet, but and I think it'll be the same with that. But season 2, it's weird. When I first watched it, I binged it from beginning to end. The moment it came out at like midnight or 2 in the morning, whatever night it was, right around St. Patrick's Day, back in like 2015, I literally sat and didn't move until I finished the season.
Whoa.
And
there are like 16 episodes.
I got like really into it. And that's basically what I did with season 1. But then when we watched it for the second time and we kind of broke it up and watched a few episodes a day, it started to lose me. And so I wonder, it's funny how that works, because the same thing with comics. We were talking about that with Chip Zdarsky's run. We read it when it was happening, and we'd get kind of behind, but like if we were caught up, it'd be like, man, this is like a drug out plot. Like it felt like, gosh, he's been in this prison for, a year.
Oh yeah. I remember that, where I was like, just get to it.
But then we took some time and we built up a few issues, and we didn't read it right when it came out, and we read like 5 or 6 in a row. And it was way better because the pacing was just there more when you could just read one issue after the other. I think it kind of happens with this show too, and with the other Netflix shows, where it's like some of them benefit from binging, some of them you don't benefit from binging. And I don't know. I mean, I think maybe also it's written that way. And like the Netflix shows, they knew we got to write it because we're going to release it all at once. And I think Disney Plus knew, well, we're going to release it weekly. So we got to kind of, along with these writing issues that we had in changing and the creators and stuff. I wonder if that was like an intentional, we don't want you to binge it because it's not as good. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point though. Because maybe it would. Yeah,
because the guy that who is it?
His name's High Top Alex on YouTube.
High Top Alex. So his review of it essentially said like, I'm 50-50. I'm mixed on this. So I wonder if he had sat and watched it weekly like we have, if he would feel different about it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a good point. But so far from my feelings towards it, I've really enjoyed it the way it's been out. And I think it's been smart with their release schedule. I thought it was really smart to have the first 2 episodes come out at once because episode 2 made up for episode 1. I think having episodes 5 and 6 come out at the same time was good because episode 6 made up for episode 5, even though I liked episode 5.
That was not an accident.
But like they totally did that knowing people would be very upset if they only came out 1 week with episode 5, especially after you had the Punisher episode and you had all the stuff going on with the plot progressing, and then and you had the Muse hint at the end, and then it's like, oh, now we're just going to do this very disconnected bank robbery kind of more fun plot. I think that would have really upset people, and they think they knew that, and they're like, well, then we'll throw in 6. So
that was definitely like a Disney episode.
Yeah And so you're right, it was totally planned that way, but I think it's planned just like it's planned to be like, we're not going to release this all at once because I think it won't play as well as if you watched like an episode a week, which they do with all their Disney Plus shows, don't get me wrong, but like I think that when they have the writing, they take that into account. Because I think that if you reverse it and you look at the Netflix shows, and if you had that show come out weekly, I think it would have actually affected the show. It'd still be good, but like it would have affected the show a little bit because the Netflix series is a very slow burn, even more so than this. And it's a lot of like some episodes, there's nothing but people sitting in one room talking, and it's really, really good. But like, I think for some people who watch shows weekly, it would disappoint them to like be like, oh, I've been waiting all week to watch this. I want to watch some Daredevil action.
And then nothing happened. Technically.
Or yeah, like there's no action, he's not in the suit, like whatever it may be. So I think that was also intentional with that. That was kind of a side tracked discussion, but I think it was important to discuss. So we have 2 episodes left, 1 each week now to finish it off. We've kind of talked about our predictions. We talked about them last few episodes too, kind of where this is all going to go. The only thing I didn't think Muse was going to die. I thought they were going to arrest him because he has they took a lot of time to reveal, which I guess they did with the intent that, well, he's going to die. So let's like let them know like what his deal is because we haven't talked about him. But I got the impression when they first introduced that stuff and he was sitting there on the chair and you finally got him, Bastion, talking. There was so much going on. I was like, ooh, I can't wait to see where this progresses in the story. And then now he died. So there's always ways to bring him back. But I think he was just a catalyst.
That makes me sad. He was great.
Yeah. A great actor, like you said, and I said. Like, I thought he was super creepy, and that whole situation. Like that's what I liked about it, though, was like it was daytime, and like it just felt like a normal. I thought, oh, here's their first session, and it's going to kind of lead to some things, but it's going to progress this whole situation, and later on, more is going to happen. But it all just happened right there.
Talk about a therapist needing therapy after that too. Like, how can you ever go back to your job? Yeah. What a trigger.
Well, and that's where the violence I thought was really good, was like he cuts her arm open and like has her like bleeding out and stuff. Like that was all intentional because that was creepy and dire and a bad situation that you were in a hurry to see solved. But when you get those just random, like Matt kicks a dude in the face and it looks like his head explodes, that's probably not the best way to use blood.
Oh, speaking of just like hitting a guy in the face, I thought it was really funny when he returned to Muse's lair and that cop came in and was like, hey. Yeah. And he just like knocks him out cold.
You like openly laughed.
I did.
Like guttural.
It just threw me off.
It is cool for me to see Daredevil, like I said this about episode 5, but also just Daredevil being a little bit more comic booky, where he has the billy clubs that like have the extended, I mean, they show those at the end of season 2, but he doesn't really use them much in Netflix due to, I guess they've said, a lot of limitations with the budget, but he has those billy clubs that like can turn into one big pole. He can shoot them and swing from them, which he's done. He can extend them. He does all kinds of cool, fun things with them. And then he throws them like, and they bounce places and things. Mm-hmm. It's kind of fun to see that in this show because it's very accurate to the comic books, and it's fun to just see a little more, just slightly elevated from real human abilities. And then when it comes to the suit, we've been kind of talking about it from episode to episode. That's one of those things in like the stark daylight, like it's red. It is red. Daredevil red. And I don't know if I like, I still don't think they've 100% perfected the Daredevil costume. I think they've gotten really close, but I think every time they modify it, they take one step forward and 2 steps back. So like, I thought the first one was okay, but the helmet was messed up. So then they fixed the helmet, but then in the suit they added more black, which I thought was kind of weird, and it made it look more like a jumpsuit. And then they go back to the black suit, which didn't do, it just kind of, it's this black suit. And then this one, they're like, we're going to modify it by making it more red, which I do like, but I do think it's still like awkward in some ways. I think there's just some awkward nature to it. Maybe it's just the way the light hits it or something, but I think it's still though my favorite they've done. It's just they need like one more. They need to do one more to make it right. No double D's. I want the double D's on his chest.
Yeah, I could go without that.
You just want the realistic black body armor, the black basically Under Armour.
Yep, that's my favorite suit.
Well, did you have anything else you wanted to add? That was just one episode this week, so we didn't have as much to talk about, but it was a good episode. You said it was your favorite. Yeah,
that one, a lot happened in that one. That one's definitely my favorite so far. I just want to caveat when I say like Vanessa dying and everything like that, and Heather dying. I don't know if Heather's going to die. I have a pretty strong feeling Vanessa's going to die, but not at the end of this season. I want to caveat that because since the whole 1 and 2, seasons 1 and 2 were supposed to be season 1, I don't think that she will die in the next 2 episodes. But I do think that she's going to die, and I do think Fisk will have something to do with her death. Or Fisk will have something to do with Heather's death, and it'll be like a chain reaction or something like that.
Well, and I will say too, they are shooting season 2 right now, and man, I've never seen a show get more leaks from the set than this show. And I'm not. And you
haven't been looking at them, right?
No, no, not at all. Just like everyone else. But I'm not going to spoil it here because that's not fair. I will warn people about spoilers for the newest episode, but it's not fair when there's something that you're technically not supposed to see yet already out. But I will say I've seen a lot of shots of season 2, and they're doubling down on the Charles Soule run, and they are introducing a little bit more of comic book stuff to it, and that's as much as I'll say. But
that's bullshit.
It looks really, and I will say one thing, and this kind of references it. I got confused because there's Shadowland, which is a big arc in Daredevil where essentially the Hand, Matt becomes the leader of the Hand. And he is kind of semi-evil because he's a little more corrupted by the Hand. And he wears this like black suit with like a bloody DD. And that's the arc that came right after Brubaker's run that kind of continued how that series ended. And it got like bad reviews. And then Charles Soule's run, from what I'm reading right now, Matt still wears kind of an armored black with a red DD, and he's still Daredevil. Just because they like to change suits in comic books sometimes. Sometimes Spider-Man wears the black suit. Sometimes it's the symbiote. Sometimes he just likes to wear a black cloth suit that looks like the symbiote. It's just they like to change it up because they want to sell more toys and all kinds of other stuff. And if there's a popular costume, they try to find many ways to bring it back. I think right now in the newest arc, they're bringing back the 90s armored Daredevil look, which is like, I can't stand it, but he has like metal shoulder pads and stuff. And they're bringing that back for a reason. But I had that wrong. Now that I'm reading the arc, there is a black Daredevil suit, and
that is not evil.
Yeah, it's just Matt he's in a different place in his life, but it's more of you could call it stealth. You could call it he's in a darker mood, but like he's not evil. So,
did you say this was in the 90s?
This was just a couple years ago.
Oh, okay. I was like, everyone has to be grungy.
No, in the 90s. I'll show you the armored Daredevil, and that'll show you 90s grunge. And that's the one they're bringing back in the comic books, and that's interesting. But yeah, so I mean, I'm looking forward to see where they go with the story, and I think I kind of have an idea of what the arc's going to be leading into season 2. And from what I've seen on leaked set stuff, it looks exciting. So we'll see what happens.
All right. I have not been looking at leaks. I've been good.
Yeah.
So all of this stuff will take me by surprise.
I mean, if you get on the TikTok algorithm of Daredevil, you're gonna see them. So I apologize if you do. But if you start seeing Daredevil on your feed, you're gonna see the leaked set images and stuff. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I think it'll be excited. I'm excited to see where the creative team that took over can actually have full control, see how good they actually are.
When does that start? Season 2?
Yeah.
Or
that's
like
when they have full,
now?
What season?
Because I can't tell reshoots right now.
This is still hodgepodged.
Really?
So all I know is that they shot 7 episodes with the old team. And then they came in with a new team and said, you take those 7 episodes and kind of fit them to fit what you want to do and what your vision is. And then you can have 2 episodes of your own. So episodes 1 and episode 9 are theirs fully. And then everything else in between, it's like there's just some that have been added. So like Punisher, that's the new team. Vanessa, that's the new team. White Tiger, that's the old team. A lot of the courtroom stuff, that's the old team. So there's kind of good from both. And I don't know if that can be, the credit can go to the old team doing a good job, or if that can go towards a little bit of both, or if that can go towards the new team taking the old team stuff and making it fit so it actually is better than it was going to be. I don't know. But season 2 is now filming, and everything that's season 2 is this new team. And they're the ones who had the intention of not making it a soft reboot where there's, this isn't the same universe as basically the Netflix series. They wanted it to be, this new team wants it to be a continuation of the Netflix series, which is good in my eyes. I'm happy with that. So we'll see what happens.
So before we end tonight, let's create a little bit of a plan and just let everybody know that next week we won't be on Tuesday night because I will be out of town. Are you going to wait for me to watch the episode, or are you just going to go for it? It's okay. I know.
So
I know it means a lot.
Are you out of town? Are you leaving Tuesday?
Yep. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
So we can't even watch it that night and then wait.
No.
I don't know. I'm almost wondering if we should watch it. It'd be kind of fun is if you watch it while you're gone, and I watch it while you're gone. Like you watch it while you're away,
right?
And we can reconvene and then talk about it. We don't watch it together.
We can do that. We can do that.
We'll see.
You would have to watch it a little bit before me because I would have to log into our Disney Plus from Florida.
Oh, I think we could have them at the same time.
Wow, date night.
Honestly, they used to have this thing on Disney Plus. I don't know if they still have it, where you could like watch it together over.
I remember that.
And you could have your icons, and you could talk to each other. I wonder if we could maybe we'll look into that. I don't know if they still have that anymore, but
that would be fun.
We'll have to take a look. But regardless, we're going to go live and discuss the episode Saturday night.
Yes.
So, is it going to be after your stream?
Why don't we do it Friday night? I just realized I have 2 streams on Saturday.
Oh, well, we'll do it Friday night.
Yeah, we'll do it Friday.
Okay. Well, so yeah, if anybody's, maybe I'll schedule it.
That's a good idea. Schedule an event for it.
We'll schedule an event, but yeah, we have to change it up a little. But we'll still have a lot to discuss, I'm sure, and then we'll be back on the actual Tuesday night for the finale, which is exciting.
So pumped.
Well, that's going to do it for this one this week. Good episode. I think it's only getting better, and I think we're in agreement with that.
Definitely.
All right, guys. Well, if you are watching this on the replay, leave a comment on your opinion of episode 7, Art for Art's Sake, and make sure you follow us at Strategy Podcast anywhere you can get your podcasts, or if you want to follow us on YouTube, we're also on Facebook, Twitter, etc.
And for those of you that are watching right now, it is 11:11, so make a wish. Have a good day.
I just turned to 11:12. Okay.
Well, it still counted.
All right.